charm in the whole collaborative process when you can bounce
yeah.
back and forth ideas off somebody, and it kind of like builds an excitement between the two. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's magic. That's magic right there.
Yeah.
And when you're writing, you have the comic script, however detailed it is. It can be Alan Moore level of insanity detail, or the Dan Slott Marvel way, where it's you have the plot and there's not any dialogue or
Very
anything in
loose.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, very loose. But yeah, having that comic script and the artist working on that page, and then the page comes back, and you as the writer, it's better than you
Christmas.
thought in your head. Like, it's so much
Yeah.
better.
Yeah,
That's-
the days that those pages come back are like Christmas. Like that
Yeah,
Christmas
exactly.
morning feeling is getting new pages.
I don't mind being like the brains of the operation, because I used to try to draw, and it just years, and it just wasn't getting me better, and I kind of was bummed about it, and I thought to myself, you know what? I don't mind being the brains behind it at all. Kind of like this is my idea, but this artist is drawing my ideas and bringing them to life.
I mean, I think too, like to your point there, Tim. Like, I think it's smart that you realize that you know your strengths. Like I feel like a lot of indie creators that, let's just put it nicely, that they don't put out they put out kind of like a subpar comic, and it's mostly because I don't think that they know their strengths. Like, if you're gonna do art for a comic book, you got to make sure you know perspective. You got to know anatomy.
If you want to run with the big dogs, you need to.
Yeah, you need to know storytelling. You need to know all those things that make a comic work.
I think,
and you have to be able to look at yourself objectively. You got to be able to step back and say, okay, this is not good, or this is good, and I can keep going with it. So I think that's an important thing for comic creators in general to know about themselves. Go ahead, Johnny.
But I was going to say another thing is that when you find a good collaborative partner, they fill in those gaps for you, where, oversight that I might have as a writer, an artist can look at a script and go, oh, well, this might be cooler this way, because then the art would flow
Absolutely.
better.
Yep.
So to have that type of complementary relationship with somebody on a project is like invaluable. You know what I mean? So it's more than just like saying, oh, like, well, I could be better here, or I could be better there. It's like whoever you're working with, and if they're truly a collaborative mind, will improve upon a project, as opposed to just execute what's there on the page. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Well, even the things that you may see as some people, like the reader, I should say, the reader sees as a smaller thing, like lettering. Like I've tried lettering before, and it's tough, and that's one of those things. Is lettering is like its own art form. It is an art form, to where, like you were saying, Keith, like knowing your what you're good at and what you're not so good at, or you're mediocre at, or whatever it may be, and finding or trusting those people that are professionals at it. Like a lot of the comics I do, like there's one letterer, my go-to letterer, Nikki Powers, who like does amazing lettering. And it's one of those things where I recognize that, and it's one of those things where the reader does not focus or see lettering or anything like that until it's bad. They will see bad lettering. They will see bad lettering. Good lettering is where it blends in perfectly with the art. It blends in perfectly with the story.
Yep.
That is amazing lettering.
I think, there's many forms of art. I think we're all artists here. I mean, if you're a letterer, if you're a writer, if you're an artist, I mean, it's all art. You know what I mean? Like, so you're good at what you do. So that's your art form. You know what I mean? You could be a good cook or a good, whatever. So it's all art.
And it's not to say that like you can't get better at art, like, but I think like to be successful in the comic industry, you have to realize when you're not putting out the best product you could actually put out. You know what I mean? Like, if deep in the back of your mind that the figure that you drew does not look right, it's not in perspective, it's sloppy or whatever, and you still put it out, then you kind of know it's going to be, a subpar product, you know. So that's
you
what
know
I was
what's
kind of
funny?
getting at, I guess, you know.
I think back to like some of the best cartoons, animated series that have been made in the past. And you look at stuff like The Simpsons, where they were very, very rudimentally animated in their first season. Or you look at Beavis and Butthead, and all their lines were squiggly. You know, it was very imperfect. Or even South Park was fucking construction paper. You know what I mean? Like, and then to see the way they involved, it's like you don't necessarily need a perfect product at that first execution. Right, exactly. It can evolve, but if there's heart there, if you're telling a story that's worth telling, even if there's imperfections in the art, even if there's imperfections in the overall, people can look past that for the product itself and the overall picture. If they can connect to.
That's just like how I started. And Melvin 1 was not it was people thought it was okay. And the thing is, for me, if I don't just do it, then it's all talk. So I just kind of like, okay, I'm going to do the best I can. I referred to it as a run and gun operation. We were kind of, I didn't know what I was doing, figuring out as I was going. Like our editing process was literally like, okay, here's what I think I should say. What do you think? And then why don't you say this instead? You know, it was just one page at a time kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then after I got all the books out for Melvin 1, I thought I need to do better. Every issue has to be better than the last issue. So the second issue has to be better than the first issue. And then I got the second issue. The second issue was a little better. So the third issue has to be better than the second issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think like that's a smart way to approach it. Like if you're always challenging yourself, you're gonna put out better products, you know. If you're constantly improving and getting better, and you know, like I know,
some
like
people get in their own way though too. You know what I mean?
What's that,
like,
Johnny?
Some people get in their own way.
They do.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's tough. It's the creator themselves too. There's no real magic bullet when you want to put it in a profile like that. You know?
Yeah, it's like it does come down because like if you get caught into the whole mindset, like you want to constantly tweak stuff, you'll never get out of that like you know that
it's like a spiral.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you'll always be stuck there. So I understand that mindset a little bit too, you know, with projects and stuff. But I think, you know, what Tim was saying, like the challenging yourself, and I think everybody does that to a degree when they make a new comic. You kind of want to make it better than your last one, you know. So
right.
You know, so I don't know. It's good discussion, you know.